So I'm here today with Brian Seim. How you doing, Brian?
I'm great, Maddie. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm surviving, trying to be thriving, living. Um, thank you for coming on and agreeing to do this today.
My pleasure. Thanks for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to meet you and get to know you a little bit.
Well, thank you. Why don't you tell the audience sort of what it is you're doing and maybe some of the things you we'll talk about today.
All right. Well, I'm Brian Seim. I'm a father of five. I married three of them when I got married 12 or 13 years ago. And we added two more to the batch. So just loving being a parent, a Christian husband, father, and leader. And from that, I've launched the Kingdom Family Leader Movement, coaching and masterminds for Kingdom Family leaders. And I'm still writing software on the side. So trying to do different kind of kingdom work while I continue to provide abundance at home.
Hmm. Tell me about the masterminds. So we kind of talked to this when we talked before, but tell me about your experience with masterminds, maybe breaking down what a mastermind is and then how it helped you, um, how you got into it.
Great. Yeah. Mastermind term is quite frequently misused in my definition recently. There's mastermind here and mastermind there. There's a master class. For me and my experience, a mastermind is a group of highly motivated individuals that come together on a regular basis to support, encourage, and challenge one another. Um, I I was in recovery years ago from sexual addiction, and at that point, um, I was just struggling to make a big move forward. And I came across the term mastermind and read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, where the idea is claimed to be introduced. And I went searching for a mastermind and I found one. And what that was for me was 10 of us, 10 guys, Christian men. We met every Monday morning at 10 o'clock and we talked about life and where we were heading and what we were doing. And we had an opportunity to be in they called it a hot seat. I like
Yeah.
the word deep seat, where one of us was like the center of attention during that meeting. And when it was your turn, I could bring up a challenge about parenting my autistic son, bring up a challenge about finding more software clients. I could bring up a challenge about coaching and expanding that, whatever the challenge was. And all those men would speak into my life. And we would meet every week on Zoom, and twice a year we would get together and usually near one of the other guys and get a rental unit, or we often had big conferences with all the groups and then small conferences with just our group to come together in person and just say, how are you the best man you can be? And it was our facilitator said, mastermind's looking forward and the recovery that you left is looking backward. And I was like, yeah, I need both.
Yeah.
And this was
That's
awesome.
interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Masterminds looking forward. Sort of like, what are you going to do next?
Yeah,
Almost.
what are you doing? Where are you going? And are you doing it right? Having those other nine men to speak into our lives. And everybody needs it, whether it's a church group or a community group, a friendship group. It doesn't have to be a formal affair, but I
Right.
think it has to have it has to go beyond the mask, beyond the everything's okay,
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
the reality. That's kind of what you've been doing
Yeah.
in your podcast and your outreach is like, we got to be real here.
Yeah.
Everything isn't wonderful, rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah. I'm curious your thoughts on this too. It's been a common theme of the podcasts I've done around men's struggles. Do you think there's something that's unique about support from other men? like having those nine other guys opposed to, there being like women in the mix or just something innately different about the men's support? Do you think that that's true?
Yeah,
And what is that?
I think there's an importance to that, and I think you miss out on something with that. Um, and I think for me, the importance outweighs the other thing. You can have more than one mastermind, right?
Yeah.
You can do that. I think for us in Iron Sharpens Iron was the first mastermind group that I joined. I was in there for 5 or 6 years, but men are unfaithful. Not all of them, but in general, there's a percentage of unfaithful men. And some of that, our facilitator and I believed it. There's a difference at handling and processing that for a man versus a woman, and being able to have that real context and real, I'm a man, you're a man, and I know I screwed everything up. Um, how do I restore this? And having that audience, that team of men together to walk through that challenge together. Um, I don't think a woman, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. I don't know everything. We'll start with that disclaimer. I don't think a woman can fully let it all go. And I'm a fixer. I,
Yeah.
a therapist speaker at a lot of our events talked about us being fixers and those being connectors. And I just think we can fix it and move on. And sometimes we discredit some of that impact on the woman in that situation. It's not part of my direct story, but I
Mm,
think those differences of sexuality and spirituality between men and women make an important make it important for me as a man to have a group of men around me somewhere in my life where I'm fully transparent and they're fully transparent about who I am and where I'm going. And even when we're being fully transparent, there's little areas that aren't. And being in that group,
yeah.
they can question that or notice that or bring
Yeah.
attention to that because we may not even know it. It may be unconscious blocks.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to dig you in a hole here, but did you say, was it in the context of groups, maybe women can't did you say fully open up or fully let go?
I think not in context of groups, in context of sexual infidelity,
Mm,
they can't, they process it differently. They've been, and it can go both ways. They can do the harm as well, but
yeah.
in a group that can fully participate. I have one of my mastermind groups is co-ed, um,
Okay.
to use that term, and that's more of a business focus group. All of my groups are full, like our business is us, our
Mm,
work is us,
yeah.
our community is us, our family is us, our church is us. So we show up, and I think there are masterminds that are completely focused in one area,
Yeah.
and I think they lose some of that. This one's a little more toward the business side that's co-ed, and we
Yeah.
we don't get into, we could, we're open to getting into a sexual conversation or a addiction conversation or a personal challenge conversation, but it's a little more on the professional side.
Right. Well, yeah, I think it was interesting what you're saying about um like having other men there, in particular having that group of men, like they might understand things. Um, you know, other men would understand men's struggles in a unique way because they're men, basically. And
Right.
there's a
Yes.
blind spot there. that men might have that other men maybe be easily more would find easier to identify.
Right.
That
And
makes sense.
then being that outside perspective of recognizing we solve and we want to get it done.
Yeah,
And we've done this damage over a long time, being able to help and encourage one another. Um, where, and it's individual. It's some of this is based on stereotypes of men and women, right? You gotta,
yeah,
I gotta be honest about that.
yeah,
And it may not be true for everyone, but
yeah,
um, it's same as humans are. Um, there are there are nuances and differences, and it depends on the programming too, and how we've been brought up, and what our circumstances have been that have created who we are today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's, I'm sure you've seen and maybe even been involved in like women's group as well, and I'm sure it's a similar thing with them too, where that's like there's unique struggles that they can relate to um, between themselves more so than maybe a man could.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. The last couple of years I was with them, they were launching women's groups as well, and my wife was in one for a couple of years, and there's just there's nuances and power in that. There's power in connection.
Yeah,
And I think for my soul support, um, I need a group of men. And biblically, there's a lot of differences in the role of men and women that sometimes get skewed and used in abusive ways.
hmm,
Um, but yet they're there. And to be able to discern that and be the best man I can be and be open to people speaking into my life. That strong American, I know you're up in the cool Canadian country, but that strong American is like, I'm the man and I got it right and I'm gonna do it and I've I've got to be strong and show it and not be vulnerable. And that's a fallacy.
yeah. It's not too far off here. It's about the same.
Yeah, that's our modern society.
Hmm. It's interesting because I tend to think some of that is good, but some of it, but it's like all things that can be taken way too far, or it can lead to isolation.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good lead in that, yeah, lead to isolation. Um, because we all encourage coaching and mentoring and guiding, and we want to be self-confident. We want to be solid and strong,
Hmm.
and that's kind of what it's based on.
Yeah.
But we miss the mark when we don't realize that I don't know this, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to solve it all by myself
Hmm.
because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Recognizing I come to Maddie and say, "Hey, Maddie, I've got this challenge, this problem.
Hmm.
Will you discuss it with me?" And then we can come up with a better solution. That's the synergy. That's the spiritual part of mastermind. I think there's all humans have that spiritual opportunity to connect through and with the Holy Spirit. It's, it's 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 biblical. Where two or more are gathered in His name, He is there with us. And
Hmm.
God coming into a conversation with His Spirit, and it's like He's like superior to everything I can ever think, believe, or wonder. And to be able to have that vulnerability to open that conversation up with another man, another group of men, and say, "Hey, I don't know how to raise my son well. Hey, I yell at the kids all the time. Hey, I'm doing everything right and everything looks right and I've got the income and I've got the house and I've got the car and I've got the kids. Why don't I feel satisfied?
Hmm.
What's missing? I did everything right.
Right. Right. So you joined this group, iron sharpening iron. Is that what it's called?
Iron sharpens iron. Yep.
Um, you were there for 7 years, and then it was it at that point you decided to start your own?
I had run a few while I was there,
Okay.
and at that point we were just transitioning in life and family. I thought I was there for life. I thought I was there forever. And one of the men on the retreat said, "I'm here for another year." He was in another mastermind for a business focus that he was in, and it just opened up an idea in my head that there's a choice
Right.
in what to do. And I talked to my wife, and we talked about the value and the commitment. Our youngest kids are 9 and 11 right now, and this was 2 or 3 years ago. It's like right into the prime of I want to be more present and more here, um, and decided to leave that group. I'm still I've reached out to one of those guys in the last 10 days and had a electronic conversation about things, but they're all that many years together being fully present for an hour a week. Um, there's no hangups. There's people on your phone that you're going to pick up every time, and that's these guys. There's people on
Right.
your phones like, yeah, I'm not going to pick that up right now.
Yeah. Right. It's a much deeper connection, would you say?
Yeah, and that's the challenge with what I'm doing, posting on multimedia and trying to promote. It's like it it takes a much higher level of commitment to commit to a smaller group with a bigger time, a bigger intimacy, a bigger value, and than it does to try to serve millions and millions of people. It's like it's it can be valuable, but that intimacy, that time value together, that relationship building. Yeah, when I started this as a participant, I was alone. I had no relationships. I had work, and that was my identity. I was a ski racing coach. I wouldn't even say I was Christian then. I don't know that I was saved um, by Jesus' sacrifice at that point. I knew about it, um, but I wasn't a friend. I wasn't a son or brother. I was just the ski racing coach, and that was my whole identity. And then I got caught in my sexual addiction, and that was taken away from me, and I was nothing.
Hmm.
I'm like, who am I now? What am I now? What, what, what is this?
Mhm.
A couple that I had coached with at the time in the off season of skiing came alongside me and walked with me through that start of recovery, that initiation of recovery, and said, well, are you going to heaven? I said, well, I think so. I've been pretty good except for this addiction thing. And even before I got caught, I was praying to the Lord, Lord, stop my addiction and I'll be perfect. I'll be the perfect ski racing coach. Delusional and flawed, but that was the prayer, and that was the main problem that needed resolution. And God stopped it. And they came alongside me and helped me recognize that there's not, I've been pretty good. Um, I know this isn't a Christian podcast really, but um, that's not the way the Bible works. That's not the way God's story works. God, God's level of sin is none is acceptable. And he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to pay the cost of all my sin, past, present, and future. And I wasn't accepting that when I started talking to this family, and they started nurturing me and loving me, despite my sin, despite my mixed up thinking. And I'm not fixed. I'm not finished. I'm still human. I still have mixed up thinking. And then the Cape got me to my understanding of salvation that I was book smart on growing up. I was raised in the church, confirmed, and all that, but I didn't get it until this family gave me what we just talked about, that most valuable thing, that intimate, connecting relationship with another human being.
It shows a high character of them, eh, to do that in that situation for you.
Yeah, they were amazing. They were above and beyond what you'd expect, um, reaching out to someone cast out of a community because of their poor choices and loving and serving them as kingdom servants is exactly what they did.
Would you say that is a common, in your experience, um, a common theme amongst men? Like you mentioned, like not having anyone, not having a close relationship, and your identity was wrapped around your your job. Would you say that is a common theme amongst men that you've seen?
Yeah, the founder of Iron Sharpens Iron, is one of his coined phrases is isolation is the enemy.
Hmm.
And it's so easy. My parents, they were great. They're still married. They're a good example. Unconsciously, consciously, whatever it was, they taught me I can do anything and everything
On your own.
on my own. I can
Yeah,
figure it out. I can do it.
yeah,
And that's down to, I laugh these days, it's down to changing my oil and mowing the grass. Um, I don't, I go to this oil shop now, and that was a program that was programmed in me by my upbringing is you got to save that $5 and change your oil at home and then go through the headache of figuring out how to dispose of the oil.
yeah,
It's worth the value of paying somebody to do it. And that's just superficial, but it goes to the whole other layer is it's that stereotype. It's that what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to solve everything myself. And realizing that that's not true.
yeah.
Can I do stuff? Yeah. Am I really good at doing stuff? Yeah. Is Maddie better at doing some stuff than I am? Yeah. And he should be the one I talk to about that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. It's so funny. I think as guys, we think like everyone else has their shit together and knows what they're doing, and we're just like, well, I should have my shit together, and I should know what I'm doing, and I should have all this stuff together, and then you're all like pretending that you got it all together, and it's kind of a funny phenomenon.
Yeah, that's where I was at the my peak in my fall. I'm like, I got everything together. This is great.
Yeah.
And why don't I feel like I have everything together?
Mhm.
Well, because of that sin that I was carrying. But everybody looks out. It's like the Facebook persona, right? Everybody looks good on there. We forget that they're posting their good stuff. They're posting their happiness, their joy, their whatnot. Robin Williams was my comedy hero for years, and I saw a picture of him with I don't know if it was a quote or a phrase, but it basically said, "Nobody pretends to be depressed."
Yeah.
And he was hilarious. He was funny. He was happy. And he was
Yeah.
pretending some of that and entertaining some of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, nobody pretends to be depressed. Nobody fakes that. And that's that's where the lack of that close connection gives that lack of visibility. The big part of mastermind is the blind spot.
Mhm.
And that close connection gives us that blind spot of, hey, maybe you're depressed. Hey,
Mhm.
maybe you're still struggling with guilt about your sexual addiction cycle. Hey, maybe your business would be better offering this or doing that.
I was in a I was in a men's group one time, and I shared some stuff, and I remember some guys were like, well, like a lot of guys were just like, wow, that's hard, that's tough, and even just that was like, oh shit, it's not just I'm not just making it harder than it is. You know, I mean, that could be your blind spot. Just understanding, like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
this is kind of this is a hard thing I'm going through. You know, when like other guys just confirm that, like, oh yeah, that's tough, man. Like, respect that you're going through that and shit. Like, yeah.
And what happened next?
Um, for me, that was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Um, and then I was talking about things I wanted to do in the future and everything, but like it's just I don't know. I can't explain it. Um, having that confirmation where you think I think it's like part of that mask, where it's like um, I have it all together, or I can deal with this all myself. Um, and then you may think like, oh, you're overblowing what you're going through. You shouldn't feel like this or whatever. And then you share it, and they're like, oh, yeah, respect. And then they might even share like some of the things they went through. It's like I understand that. Just like I understand that it goes a long way, like way longer than I would have ever thought. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. We're programmed from
Yeah,
childhood coming up, and we think we understand things.
yeah,
And we think, like you said, they all have it together, or why don't I? And cracking that, I had a few guys when we lived in Denver. Our leader, the Iron Sharpens Iron was a big impact on me. And he had an accountability group, like 3 or 4 guys, and he had them come and speak at our big group retreats. And I'm like, I'm getting those guys. They've been together 10, 20 years. And I just invited a couple guys from church, from Celebrate Recovery. Hey, let's have coffee. And Celebrate Recovery kind of breaks some of that, getting to the real stuff. It's a 12-step program that's Christ-centered.
yeah,
And by coming together, I said, hey, you want to have coffee? And you want to be real? Like real about it? I didn't throw it all right in their face right away, but on
yeah.
the first coffee and maybe the second, I said, do you want to keep doing this on a regular basis? And just be real about how your marriage is and how your kids are and how your provision is in your family and how your work is and your walk with Christ is. And that was great. I'm reminded, and that's why I have masterminds because that does that. Um,
Mhm.
and we started meeting on a regular basis, like over and over and over again. Um, and then they both moved away. And I was like all bummed out.
That's too bad.
And then I moved away. So I guess they led me to
Yeah.
it.
No, it's really interesting, isn't it? Like just even that phrasing, like let's be real. You would think from an outside perspective, if you were meeting up with some guys out, like of course you'd be real. Why wouldn't you be real? But it's like removing that mask of everything's good, you know. to like, this is what I'm going, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I'm going through. Um, do you guys have any thoughts or ideas, or can you help me with this? I know you're good at this. What's your advice?
Yeah, that's that's power. It takes that invitation. I think that's where it is like, hey, this may not be comfortable, but I need help. And
Yeah,
that's one of the things
yeah,
that I never said for my first 35 years. And then as I entered recovery, it's like, wow, I need help. Huh. Mom and dad weren't all right. They were good, but they weren't all right.
um, well, why don't we share, Brian, where people can find your stuff, kind of what you're doing now? So you have a mastermind currently, correct?
Right. Yep. So if you a great place to go, if you're a Christian and even if you're not, is we have an app and it takes you through about 35 questions to score yourself on how well you're doing as a man, as a we've got three pillars in the Kingdom Family Leader path. The first one is bless yourself. We got to take care of ourselves. We got to bless ourselves. We got to be open to input from others. Because if we raise ourselves up by blessing ourselves, then our spouse, our business, our kids are all at a higher level. Expand our territory. Where are we serving? Where can we really make a difference? Where is that circle of impact? And how does it relate to everything we know about and everything we care about? Where those three circles converge, that's our kingdom. That's our area of impact. That's our territory and where we want to spend our most energy because that's where we can make the most difference. And our third pillar is serving his kingdom. So we've got an assessment at app.kfl.vision. And it just asks, how are you with your kids? How are you with your wife? How is your territory? How are you serving? And you get a score at the end of that and you get on our email list.
Hmm.
Um, so that's a great tool. And just going through it the first time when I was creating, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't been doing that very much lately. I need to
Yeah.
start taking our adult kids on dates so that I keep connecting with them and um, really have that one-on-one time for them to be safe and vulnerable with me and me to support and love them and be safe and vulnerable telling them how life's still a challenge even though they've moved out and they're creating their adult life and having that. So um, that's at app.kfl.vision and kingdomfamilyleader.com is our website.
Okay. All right. I'll definitely put that in the description of this video for anyone listening. Um, I guess just sort of to wrap up, is there anything that you would say to a man that's struggling out there currently?
Knock it off. Don't do it alone anymore. Reach out to Maddie, reach out to Brian. Um, there's somebody in your circles that you can talk to and say, well, I heard you say it before. The shit hit the fan. Can I talk to you about it? And if there's not, Maddie will do it. I'll do it. Um, I'm going to put words in Maddie's mouth. I'll do it for free. Let's talk for 15 minutes and just say, hey, what's going on? Help you find that connection where you're at in your life. Um, or we could talk about working together. Don't do it alone.
It's great advice. Thank you so much for coming on, Brian. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I think this is very informative. Mm. It's great what you're doing.
Thanks. I love your thoughtful nature. So many people are so la 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 la, and you're like, hmm, really put a lot of thought into the conversation and into the questions and how to offer value to the listeners.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Gotta think it through. Thank you, sir, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.